So currently we have the Bionic runner here with the standard 52 chain ring and chain that came with the bike. And I'm going to okay, so here's my collection of parts. I have the chain, the Shimano CN-NX10 144 links, 1 speed, which I hear needs to be 113. We have a 5mm tool to take out the nuts, 15mm wrench, which happens to be for pedals, to loosen the back tire. I'm going to use a Park, an MLP-1-2 pliers to take the chain apart that's on it without having to muck with other stuff to get that chain off. We have a chain breaking tool to break that one link. We have the 44 chain ring that got sent with the product. And then the 44 chain ring outside piece. The first thing I got to do is get some slack in the chain so I can get off the link. So I use the 50mm wrench, loosen both sides, and then push, the wheel goes forward, just slides forward, and now we have some slack in the chain. Now the key link on this thing doesn't swing from the back, just from the front. So I use my pliers here to put one end here and one end on the back so I could pull it forward. So when I pull it forward, link comes off, the other piece comes off, and voila, the chain comes apart. Now in order to get the chain ring off, one's got to take the crank side arm off here, which is spec down to 22 Newton. So I'm going to take this apart. So my 5mm stubby here. And I'm going to hold the thing. And unscrewed the thing just like when we put it together. And now we've got that thing apart. So unscrewed it. Thing comes apart here. So basically this thing just pushes in, and just as you set it in, whoops. The thing just pulls right out of the holder as you put it in, and down we go. Now obviously I could have just left the chain alone and not broken the chain, but hey, there's people that don't know how to use the chain thing apart. That's something there. So now I've got the crank with the arm off, so now I can take these bolts apart. So we go through and we've got to loosen all of these with our 5mm wrench of some type. So just use some kind of 5mm wrench, whatever it takes, go around and loosen all the bolts and get them apart. So go through and take each of the bolts out. And do this for all 5 of the bolts. So once you have the bolts out, take off the one chain ring, do the next one, take it off. Voila, you get everything off. Now we reverse the order with the new stuff. So here we got the 44 ring. I've elected to do the silver piece to the inside, even though I can't tell, so I just slip that on over, and that's going to fit right in there. Then we put the other outside ring, and I'm going to go with the silver looking piece out, I guess. I don't know why. Again, can't tell any difference. Now we've got them both on, so now we go back and put on the bolts we just took off, which is backside has a screw, gets put in, and then one uses the other part that's threaded to go inside it. So now we put the parts back on. So the inside is the piece with the inside threads that go in the back. And then obviously the threaded piece go in the front. Do that around for all 5. So now we've got all the things snug, 42 gear on with a cover plate. I'm going to go through with my torque wren and torque all these down to about 10 Newton meters. Make sure they're nice and snug. Okay, with my chain tool, I take off what I call 2 links, since I got to have an inside and outside to shorten the chain. I then use the chain tool to push the pin in to connect the chain together. So once I got the chain all back together, I go and put the chain over the front. Now what I've had to do here in the back is I moved the holders, switched them around 180 degrees because I couldn't get the chain to reach, so I could get the wheel farther forward. So we shall see. Now I can, back here I can take the chain, put it around the back, make sure I don't get the cable in the way there, and put over the chain. And now I'll be pushing the back wheel back to tighten it up and see if these things need to stay at 180 degrees backwards. Once I got the chain real tight, I was able to rotate these pieces back to where they were to start with, facing forward rather than backwards. Now we go put the pin back in, making sure we got that thing rotated so it slips in there correctly all the way down. So this way when it comes back out, it'll smooth and pull this thing right back in there correctly. Just for an example, since some people have had trouble with this, is that this piece doesn't go in there nice and smooth and go back and forth and you got it jammed, which I just had a minute ago. So make sure that thing goes nice and smoothly or you will have trouble. Then we put the cap screw on, screw this thing down. I'm going to torque this at 22. And as you do this back, you should see that thing go up against the metal, and then the pivot thing slides in nice and smooth. And you've got, if you don't see that nice and smooth pulling in, you got something jammed, and start over again. Torque it at 22 newtons, and we will go give it a ride, see what happens.